Right. So when you first came over to the Reds, you weren't playing a ton right away. Let's see, it's 72, 73, and 74. You played some, but you weren't an every single day player.
No, when I first had come to the Reds, I was playing on a regular basis. I was batting
Okay.
second behind Rhodes, and I never did keep track of my average. And I'm saying, I must not be doing too well. When is the manager going to take me out of the lineup? But my average was pretty good, and I was in a great position because batting second, then right behind Pete. Then you have Perez or Bench behind you. So I was in a great position as far as hitting, but I wasn't really prepared for that situation because with the Giants, I'm not playing that often. So after 71, I wasn't playing much in 72, and in 73, I was sent down to Indianapolis, AAA, and I think that's where I really got a restart in my career, getting myself prepared to play the game. And I think I was complacent just to make it to the major league and not being prepared to go farther than that.
Would it be all right if you told the story of when you were not playing a lot?
Well, okay, what's the story? No, Sparky Anderson, they called him, well, for the pitchers, Captain Hook, but he was a great manager because he made sure everybody was in the game, especially the part-time players, letting know each guy their role. So I think I had gotten a home run in a pinch hitting situation, and then the reporter asked me, well, Sparky said you can't hit right-handers, and I said, well, they don't make bats long enough to hit from the dugout, and then Sparky wasn't too pleased with that, so he tried to embarrass me. And Bert Hooten at the time, he was the top pitcher on the scene. I think he had started with the Dodgers and he got traded to the Cubs. So I didn't know I was playing the next day, but one of the reporters said, you know you're starting. I said, I'm not starting because of right-hander. He said, yep, Sparky's putting you in there. So I went easily 4 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. But I look back because Willie Mays would say, you don't be concerned about who gets the credit. So in that instance, Sparky Anderson got the credit because, wow, that was ingenious. You're putting Foster in the lineup against Bert Hooten and see what he did. But he was probably fuming. I thought he was going to go 0 for 4 strikeouts, but that was...
He was hoping you were going to go.
Hoping that I would do badly. But as it turned out, there were people around me that gave me information, informed me what I needed to do. But it's back to that statement, being able to be prepared for whatever opportunity.
Right. And then in 75, that was your real first breakout year, especially from a power perspective. I mean, anything different that year versus years before? Because I mean, that year was really like put you on the map in terms of like a power hitter.
Well, I started to get I started to get stronger, and plus I played winter baseball, and it gave me a chance to learn more about hitting and develop it as far as hitting. And I believe I hit 23 home runs that particular year, but I started to know what I could do. I always hit the ball well to right field, but learning to hit the ball in the gap. With Ted Kozlowski, our hitting instructor, he was very encouraging and giving me pointers on how to do that. But before, I was just satisfied just get a base hit, but he taught me how to drive the ball. And back to that statement, being ready for the opportunity. So the the Dodgers had won in 74. And now the Dodgers were in first place, and we were behind them. And a lot of guys' jobs were on the line, especially Sparky Anderson. So somebody got the idea of putting me in the left field. Because playing part-time, I think I had 8 home runs. This is like in April, 8 home runs and leading the team. So as it turned out, I got the opportunity to play. They moved Pete Rose to third, and
did Pete didn't he volunteer to move to third so you could be in the left? Is that right?
They said he volunteered, but I had sent him a message that, hey, you got the sun down to get out of left field. No, but yeah, he volunteered. That shows you that he's a team player, and because Pete had come up as a second baseman, then he went to the outfield. And then he went back to third base, and he turned out to be a Gold Glove at third base and an All-Star player. But that shows you the camaraderie or him being a team player.
Now in 77, that was your NL MVP year.
77, man.
77.
I went off.
320, 124 runs scored, 52 home runs.
50.
50?
No, 50. 52.
52.
Yeah.
100 and what? 120? I'm just 149 RBIs.
I was an underachiever that year because I needed 150 RBIs. I only got 149, so I was an underachiever.
I mean, what type of? I mean, it's one thing to be an everyday player at the major league level, but to be an MVP from a mental standpoint, the season's such a long grind. I mean, how are you able to stay just level-headed the entire season and just?
I think 76 taught me a big lesson, because I was close in average home runs, RBIs, as far as winning Triple Crown. So the reporters got in my head saying you may be able to win the Triple Crown, but the more home runs I try to hit, the lower my average went, and I wasn't driving in the runs, and then I had to really hold on to the RBI so I could win the RBI crown. But I learned a lot in 76 not to go out there and pressure myself or force myself to do certain things, but being prepared and do what I felt I could do. So 77, it was like a combination of 75 and 76. I hit 23 home runs in 75, 29 in 76. So I said, well, I'll just combine it in 1 year. But it was great to hit that amount, because the last guy who had done that before me was my idol, Willie Mays. I believe it was like in 65. So it's something that had done something that my idol had done. But I was mentally, physically, mechanically prepared that particular year. Had taken martial arts. I always made sure I let pitchers know I took martial arts, because if they threw me inside, they're in danger of my coming out there charging the mound.
Yeah, did you notice pitchers throwing you differently throughout that season? Because to get to 52 home runs, obviously you're dominating pretty much the entire season. So the second half of the year, did you notice any changes or?
Well, the biggest change that I moved up in the lineup,
okay.
And that's why I was having a guy, Johnny Bench, behind you.
So you were fourth or third?
I was hitting fourth.
You were hitting fourth.
Time. So Johnny Bench was behind me, and they rather try to pitch to me to hope that I get myself out than to pitch, walk me, and Johnny comes up and hit a 2-runner. So having someone behind you is very important, just as it is who's in front of you. Like you have a Morgan or Griffey on base, you're going to get a lot of fastballs to hit. And you have a Bench behind you, you're going to get a lot of fastballs to hit. So being prepared for that situation, that in the sense of like hitting in a rocking chair, because you know that you're going to get a lot of fastballs to hit, but be prepared for it.
Now that Big Red Machine is, notorious for being one of the greatest teams of all time. What was the chemistry like in the clubhouse? Because there's a lot of stars on that team, and so sometimes what you see with teams, there's egos involved,
Right.
And not everyone gets along because everyone wants a spotlight. So what was it like in the clubhouse?
Well, that was a big thing that Sparky Anderson said. Everybody check their ego at the door. That this is a team player. It's not it's we, and that we're going to go out there and play as a team. And that was the key to our ball club. Everybody knew what they needed to do, what their role was. Rose, Griffey to get on base, Joe, Morgan, myself, Perez, Bench driving runs, and then you had guys batting 7th and 8th, Concepcion and Geronimo, who's hitting 300 and good speed. So we had great balance on that team. We had guys that we believed in our ability, and we knew what we needed to do.